Hello there, my name is Parley Burnett. I am the Customer Success Manager here at UNIFI, and I will be giving you a quick demo of our platform. What I'll start with showing you is a quick overview of the different pieces of the platform, and then I'll be going through kind of a high-level overview of the interface, and then we'll drill down and after that into some of the key specific functionality the tool that actually makes UNIFI very simple to use and to upload your content libraries. Okay, so let's get started. What we are looking at here, this is the first and main part of our platform. This is our desktop client. And this is actually a standalone Windows application that can run without Revit even being open. Okay, what happens when Revit is open is it will connect with the UNIFI add-in that is also installed into the Revit add-ins. And you can see that on the add-ins toolbar right here. So that's another piece of this. And then the third piece that's also very important is our web portal. And this is a web address at app.unifilabs.com where your company administrators can come in and perform a lot of the administrative tasks that they normally would within UNIFI. But there's also some additional functionality in here, such as managing meta tags, sharing libraries with outside consultants or owners, and also the ability to subscribe to outside libraries of content outside of your own content libraries. Okay, these might be manufacturer libraries, or we also have the Autodesk out of the box libraries here as well. So that's pretty exciting. We'll get into that in a few minutes. I'll pull that to the side. And let's kind of get into the details here of the desktop application. Okay, so we are looking at UNIFI being connected to Revit 2017. Um, like I was saying, UNIFI can run independently of Revit being open, and it can actually run with multiple instances of Revit open at the same time. So if I was connected to, let's say, a Revit 2016, UNIFI would be able to communicate with both. And by communicate, I mean able to insert content that we find within the application. UNIFI does support versions 2014 on up through the current 2018 version, which is pretty neat. And we also, this is kind of a side topic, but we are also planning on and working on a version of UNIFI that will support the other formats that you likely work with at your firm. This might be AutoCAD files, SketchUp files, Bentley products, even some of the other file formats that are likely part of your workflow, like PDF files, text files, or Office documents. Okay, so that's a pretty exciting big new change for us that's coming up pretty shortly here. We plan on having integration with AutoCAD, which will communicate in a very like manner with an AutoCAD plugin as well. Okay, so just from a high-level overview of the interface itself, we have these first three buttons here are for the finding of content. The next three here are for the adding and maintaining of content. And then these two are more administrative. This is for user management, and this is library management. Now, UNIFI is a cloud-based product. It is all user-based, so the first time you open UNIFI, whether that be from the UNIFI add-in inside of Revit or from your start menu within Windows, you can open up UNIFI that way. And one of the first thing you'll see is actually a login screen. Now, I'm already logged in here, but you'll be prompted with a login screen where you put in your email address and password. We do support different forms of single sign-on there, so we can integrate with your user system directly, which is a big time savings for a lot of people. Okay, so you come in, you log in, and you see these options here on the left. Now, I am logged in currently as a company administrator, And therefore, I'm going to see these options here for user and library management. Um, Otherwise, for normal users, you're going to see everything else that we're looking at here, including the ability. You're probably wondering about the uploading of content for normal users. And yes, anybody can and is encouraged to upload content inside of UNIFI. Now, that doesn't mean that that content's immediately available to your entire group. The great thing about UNIFI is it allows you to designate who the administrators are and give them administrative rights over specific libraries for the approving of content that is added. Okay, we want UNIFI to be really your single source of truth for your content. Um, so that means that those users who might be hoarding that content on their local drives or maybe in old projects, we are encouraging the, the administrators to really foster an environment in UNIFI where all of the users contribute to the content process. Okay. Now a big piece of that is the file types that UNIFI can support. We do support, of course, the RFA files, your simple loadable content like doors and windows. Anything that's a .rfa file UNIFI supports. But we also support some of the common Revit project file element types, such as system family types, or drafting views, model and detail groups, and even schedules. Okay, so a lot of that stuff is typically contained in your template files, and UNIFI allows you to store that now as elements, each as separate elements inside of UNIFI, and you can organize it and bucket it in different ways without duplicating your content like you would traditionally have to do in your template files, right? Your template files uh, tend to be a hard maintenance thing. And we want you to be able to reduce the footprint of those template files to be more structured around your firm-wide settings and things like that. Okay. By the way, those different element types are added from a Revit project through the Revit, or rather the UNIFI add-in right here. So you would click on Batch Export, and you'll see a dialog here that allows you to browse the database and select the content types, and then export those into UNIFI, which would then show up on the upload page. Okay. Okay. I want to change gears a bit here and show you how content can be easily added into the cloud system. Okay, so I have a folder here of columns. Actually, this is the out of the box content. And we have also here the upload page. Okay. So this page here, you're able to select the libraries within which the content you upload will appear. You're able to apply tags, and the pending content to be uploaded will show up here. You can drag files in from Windows Explorer or choose files here. And this is pretty easy. I'll just go ahead and drag in some columns, and you'll see those show up in my upload queue down below. Okay. Now the great thing about UNIFI is unlike Windows, the way we structure the data is much less rigid than Windows Explorer, in that we don't organize content rigidly into folders. Okay. We do have libraries, but libraries are really just your way of controlling who has access to what content. And content can exist in more than one library, okay, without it being saved as different versions. So that's pretty nice. Now, I've dragged some content in here, and I do want to show you quickly how libraries can be created. You'll see just a real quick um, way to add those. You click the plus sign here and type in a name, and that will create you a new library. And we have a lot here created, some of which are not our own. And this highlights the ability of UNIFI to subscribe and receive invitations from others who extend library sharing invitations with us. Okay. Within the library settings page itself, you can actually add users to be administrators of a library, or just simply have access, like in this case with that tab. And you can assign user groups to have access to a library as well. On this page here, we have a quick little display of usage activity. And then on manage users, we're able to add user accounts, much like we did with the libraries. But on users, you're able to copy and paste. If you choose the import option, you're able to import in mass your user accounts, which is a nice feature um, for batch user creation. Okay, so back on the upload page, you choose those libraries that you have created here. And I'll just go ahead and choose a few. And then we'll add tags, a tag for column. Okay, and you'll see a nice quick drop down here showing you existing tags that we have in the system so that we're matching up against existing ones and hopefully not creating new meta tags when we don't have to. And then down here we have our upload queue. Now notice we have a plus icon here, and this will tell us what version year we're uploading. The great thing about UNIFI is we can support all of these different Revit versions for the same element. Now, when we expand these, this will show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. Okay, this is called our base file chart, and this is an extreme example, okay, of what you could expect to be able to do within UNIFI. So we basically have a chart here showing us that for the file named rectangular column, UNIFI still sees this as one thing, but we have several files that have been provided to UNIFI from different versions of Revit. So UNIFI is actually storing all of these different versions underneath the same parent item. And then depending on which version of Revit the user is connected to, UNIFI will automatically retrieve the right file for that user. So in essence, the user will never have to wait for an upgrade file ever within UNIFI, right? They'll never see that upgrading file dialog. And this is actually a good example of how that works. So we are uploading a 2017 file. When we upload, that file will be stored for 2017. But what about 2018? We haven't provided UNIFI with a 2018 column, rectangular column yet. So UNIFI will actually cloud upgrade this copy of the file and store it so that when we use 2018, it will retrieve that as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click upload here, and that will take just 1 second. Okay, so that has finished. Now, when I go to search for these columns, let's see if we can find that rectangular column. Okay, so we have a pretty good search result here, and you see how fast that starts to come in. There's our rectangular column, and I'm going to drill into the details page here in a minute, but I want to talk briefly about how the searching works. When you upload content into UNIFI, what happens is we have Revit running in the cloud that is opening up this content and mining it for data. And it is using a lot of that data in our search index. So when I type in search terms up here, it's matching those up against not just the file name, but it's matching it up against the family types that are within the family, whatever the category is, as well as the tags. Okay, so some different fields there, and that results in really some very relevant search results for you. You do have the ability to filter down even further your search results through here. We have a family category selector and an element type selector. So that allows you to drill down very, very quickly. Okay, now we have, when we click on here, we'll see the details page for this element. And when we click on family types, you'll see here there are 3 types in this family. Here are the parameters and the values, again showing you that information that we were able to mine out of it. We click on the file history, and you'll see that we have that file that we saw on the upload screen, and that was revision 8. Okay, so That also highlights the ability of UNIFI to revision all of your actions as you add files for this element. And it's very easy to roll back to previous revisions should you need to. Okay, and notes can be provided on upload as well. Okay, library management. This is just highlighting your ability to select this to be visible in different libraries. Okay, now that is basically how you add content into Revit. It's very, very easy. When you drag content in from Windows Explorer, it's actually going to tag all of the content automatically by the folder names that that content is contained within. So literally from almost the minute you start with this, UNIFI is very, very intelligently uh, tagging your content. It's understanding what categories that content is, what the family types are, and building this index and knowledge base around your content without almost no effort on your part. Okay, you do have the ability to download the content. You can favorite the content. That's an individual setting. And the filter option, when you are searching for content, you can show only your favorites for yourself. And you can rate the content, which is really nice. And you can also capture new preview images for your content like so. Okay, I won't go ahead and do that, but you can edit the family, which will open that in the family editor. That's a new feature of ours. And you can also rename the family within the finish it family mode. Okay, I'm going to back out of this and just highlight one or two other things here. Now in my search results, you'll see some elements will show up with a TC on it. That means type catalog. Now when we click on that, we'll see UNIFI's own type catalog dialog. And this is somewhat optimized on top of the UNIFI or the Revit version where you can search within the entire type catalog. What's unique also is any types that have been added to your project already will pre-highlight with an orange row. Okay, so that's pretty nice. And then you can filter these as well, just like you can in the Revit type catalog dialog. Okay, so that's what the TC means. This means here, this Revit logo is telling us that this content is coming from a channel. This is outside content from your own firm. And this is being managed through that subscription center that I showed you at the very beginning. And we can browse through these. They're also visible as we go to browse the content. You'll see these are our own libraries or those libraries of which other firms have shared directly with us. But there are also these publicly available channels. You can browse through these that our company has subscribed to through the channels tab. And that's just really nice. You can just click on here and browse through all of this out of the box content that UNIFI is managing essentially for you. And every version that Revit comes out with, we are managing the revisions of those content elements with each new version. So all of that's handled automatically by someone other than you. Okay. On saved searches, this is a unique feature that allows you to save queries that you might be repeating often. And we do see in our search analytics that that's very much the case. People tend to do the same searches repeatedly. So you can save a query. Let's say up here you type in a search for rectangular column and you apply some filters for maybe only your favorites. Your categories are set, your element types are set. You can save that query as a saved search. And if you're a company administrator, you can make those visible to the entire company. Now I'm showing a few examples. These can be used pretty creatively. They can be used to kind of bucket your content in different ways. Keep in mind that these saved searches can reference the meta tags that you apply to the content. So let's say living room furniture is something that you tend to think of as a group of components. You could tag them all by that tag name and then create a saved search for that tag. And that's basically a dynamic form of a collection, right? That everybody can enjoy. You can do that for company saved searches or your own personal saved searches. And I've created a few here for myself as well. like my favorite doors. Um, this is content that I've favorited that's door categories. Um, so yeah, pretty nice. Um, really quick here, we've talked about uploading content. We have the ability also to request content. This is a very nice feature, albeit very simple, where your users, again, can contribute in the process of, of um, gathering content within UNIFI or requesting it. Simple 5 steps. All they do is fill out some very simple information and including the library information, which libraries they want the content to show up in. They fill out a content spec and hit submit. Now we find that this is a popular feature mainly because this is part of the same tool they use to consume content. So a lot of people give a lot of good feedback on this, and those requests will show up as notifications. So I hadn't shown you this yet. The uploads will show up here, and if you are a company administrator when you upload, those uploads automatically get approved. Um, and I have some that already are approved here. There's the one batch of 6 files that I uploaded a minute ago, and there it is. There's our batch, right? And I can double click on this and see that batch. Um, Now, the request will show up here in like manner, and the users who are administrators of the company or administrators of the libraries selected when the form was filled out, those folks will see these requests show up here. They'll be able to come in and fulfill those requests. Now, most of these are completed, but here's one that's pending. And this is kind of our review page where the user can uh, download the attachments that were provided by the user, fulfill the request, mark it as in progress, and then finally completed when done. Or if the request doesn't make sense, you can reject the request. Okay, so we're trying to match up your workflows in one tool in a very intuitive manner. Okay, you can get some simple support options on this menu here. Okay. Just really quick, I want to highlight the capabilities of the web portal one more time. On here, there is the tags, and this will take 1 second to load up. So all of the meta tags that you have applied to your library will show up in this vertical listing, and you can search through those. And you're able to kind of identify this way areas that you may have misspelled tags, or maybe there's 2 tags that are very similar to each other. Maybe one's plural of the other one. And you can merge those by hovering over these arrows and merge one or more tags together, which is really nice. Or you can rename and delete. Here you're able to select different content and manage the tags in a pretty intuitive menu here where you can toggle the determinant state of these tags, whether it's on some, all, or none. And you can apply those changes. All changes made in this page can be viewed on the history page. Okay, and then the subscriptions, I'm going to show you that since we've talked a little bit about it. You as company admins can come in here and browse through the libraries that we have available to you. You can click subscribe and then just toggle on for those user groups that you want that content to appear in for. So a lot of times people will subscribe only their the admin group to these channels just for a period of time while you verify that it's good enough for your firm. Okay, so that was a very quick rundown through UNIFI. I hope that was helpful to you. And I am here to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you.